are stories that connect us to ourselves and each other. These stories reveal who we are and show us the many vivid, wild colors of our truth. Welcome to Soul Wanderings, where we raise spiritual awareness and foster connections through these shared stories and personal experiences. And now, exclusively on KGRA Radio, I give you your host for Soul Wanderings Radio. Here's AJ.
Welcome to my most favorite night of the week. It's Soul Wanderings night. And Soul Wanderings is a show about journey stories, and we are hanging out here on the one and only KGRAradio.com, which is heard throughout our universe every Wednesday from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. And each week we get to wander with a new guest about their authentic experiences through this human journey. And I'm so excited to have you guys here with us tonight for a live show. And it's going to be our first of many live experiences because we have some fun news to share with you guys tonight. First of all, I am AJ Rasmussen, and I am an owner and manager of an intentional heart-centered healing space called Vibes, Mind, Body, Spirit. And it is there where I get to assist others in their personal journeys in healing their heart, their mind, their body, all of that good stuff. And I'm also your host of Soul Wanderings. And if you guys are listening live with us tonight, I encourage you to hop into our chat room hosted on KGRAradio.com. That's where we hang out and have conversation behind the scenes as our guest shares with us. It's also a great place to ask questions for our guest. And I usually grab them as time allows. But the fun surprise that I was mentioning before is tonight, for the first time ever, I'll be hanging out in the chat room the first part of our show, the second part of our show. So the second hour, we'll be accepting calls for our first time ever. Our guest will be gifting messages to those who are able to get through this evening. So get ready to take note of the number. This is going to be another great way for you to connect with us during this time. The second half of the show will grab as many calls as we can in the time that is allowed before we conclude. And the number to do that is 85KGRA Live, Live. So that's 855-472-5483. I hope you guys jump in on the chance to spend some time with myself and our guest this evening. I'm so excited to do this. It's going to be a lot of fun, especially, the phones are really exciting, but especially because I'm hanging out with one of my favorite people in the whole world. She's live here in the studio with us, and she has wandered with us before, just over a year ago. So we thought it was due time that we have her back, and with the ability to take call-ins, you guys will want to take advantage of this because this woman is completely gifted. So let's get started, shall we? Our guest receives information spiritually and intuitively, and the information she receives as thoughts, feelings, emotions, pictures, images, and angels. And she began learning all about energy work while she was searching for answers to difficult health issues. And during her search, she discovered her gifts. And she's actually been doing energy work for around 11 years and has been a practitioner for about 6 years. And we're excited to have you back. Welcome, Misty Merck.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be back.
It was a lot of fun last time, and I'm really glad that you reached out to me and said, "I want to share some more," because it's a good time when we get to hang out together.
It is. You're one of my favorite people. I absolutely love and adore you.
Aw, right back at you, sister.
Thank you.
So, for those of you who weren't hanging out with us on Soul Wanderings just over a year ago, or maybe didn't catch the replay, let's do a reintroduction of Misty Merck.
I'm Misty Rose Merck. My business is Misty Rose's Healing. I am a life coach, a Reiki master, shamanic practitioner, level 1 heart-centered therapy practitioner, energy worker, and what I call a spiritual intuitive, which means that I receive messages and I perceive energy. And I get things as feelings, thoughts, emotions, pictures, images, and angels. When I work with people, what I ask is because I am interpreting what I perceive. If I share something that doesn't seem to fit, don't make it. Just receive what feels right and true. When I work with people, as much as I want someone to have a nice experience, more importantly to me is I want them to have something that when they walk away from our interaction, they have something that they can use to move forward in their life in the direction they want to go. Because I really want to see people be who they really are, living their dreams, shining the light that they have inside of them. Because every time one person lights up, the world gets that much brighter. And I have full intent and purpose that I want to see this world shine through each and every person I engage with and interact with. And there is something to love about everybody. And I feel that my gift kind of gives me a backstage pass at a rock show. And I get to go back there. And, you know, there's that face we present to the world, the things we pretend, the things we think we have to be in order to be liked and loved and accepted and get the things we want out of life, when in reality, we just don't understand that being who we were created as, who we are in our hearts, is exactly right for this world and is what really everyone is truly looking for. And so, you know, I have a philosophy. What if you're the miracle that this world's been waiting for? What if your life, your light, is the one that the universe seeks to love, live, learn, and grow through? But that's not going to happen if you're pretending to be what you aren't. And I've lived a long life of pretending to be something so that I could be loved. And I realized all that did was hurt me because I never felt enough or good enough, or because I wasn't being myself. And when you get love through pretense, you know, you have to keep pretending. You never feel accepted for you and who you are. And I'm just ready to live a different life, a life of being myself, loving myself, and then from that place, seeing other people and loving what there is to love in them. So
it's very beautiful what you share. And it, as a listener, just hearing that, it feels really nice and warm and fuzzy. But where I actually know you and see you on a personal level, I know what you're saying is very true because you emulate everything that you have shared. And I adore the person you are. And I love that you're being yourself now. I love that you've come out of that closet.
Yeah,
it really is
I
awesome.
was pretty dug deep into that closet in a deep, dark hole. And finally, you know, I just got the opportunity to get out of that hole.
It's a really exhilarating place to be, I'm sure.
It is. I feel like I have choices. You know, when you live in that hole, you feel trapped in that little tiny box that we paint ourselves in. And there's not a lot of choice there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like a lot of us do that, though. I mean, until we know not that there is another way not to do that.
Well, I describe it this way. Have you ever seen a baby born who's beating the mess out of themselves, tell them how horrible they are? No, babies love themselves to the point that they play with their poop. You know, they're in love with everything about themselves. That just shows right there, not loving ourselves and not being who we really are is all learned behaviors. And it's learned because we have experiences that hurt. And from that little kid perspective, we make stories trying to explain things, but usually we make stories from our pain, and we start creating a life that's very constrictive and hurts, all trying not to hurt.
We've talked about this a lot on the show with all different types of guests that I've had. It's a common thing that all of us have experienced or are experiencing or will soon be experiencing. And I'm not sure how it all begins. I know conditioning is huge, and, your parents don't do that or do this or say that, or, your environment. But where do you think that it actually comes from outside of that? Because that's only one or two people around you. You're still your own self, but how do you know who you are, who you're becoming, or not to get stuck into that knowing to unknow it? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I look at everything in life as multifaceted. I really try to shy away from the rigidity of one outlook or one way, because I feel like we are multifaceted, and life is multifaceted and very complex. But I look at it in some context, and one of those is all of those things, as painful as they are and as much as they hurt, provide experiences.
Yeah.
And those experiences give us experience, so that what I heard once in a class, we've come to learn what we've come to teach. And I've been in classrooms where people teach from book knowledge, and you can learn a lot of things. But my most favorite teachers and the most effective teachers I was around were teachers who taught from firsthand personal experience. And I really come to believe our mess is our message. We go through the mess so that we can understand the message and how best to share that, because we're here to learn and grow and expand. And how do you do that without contrast or constriction or different things? Another thing is I have a philosophy. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie Paycheck with Ben Affleck and Uma Thurman.
I have not.
You have to watch it. It's a great movie. But there's a concept in this movie. Ben Affleck plays a character where he gets paid a lot of money to create these unique products for companies, and then has his mind erased so that nobody can duplicate it. And he goes to get his paycheck, and he's handed an envelope with no money, just everyday objects like a key, a lighter, a ticket, things like that. And as the movie progresses, basically this is what happened. He developed a product for someone that let them see into the future, and he saw that they were going to use it and it would destroy the world. The only way to stop that was for him to have his memory erased and accomplish certain things. But he knew once he had his memory erased, what would be the motivation? What would be the thing to keep him moving forward and making choices to, at the end result, stop this thing from happening? By one, he donated the paycheck to charity. He gave himself such a painful experience, he had to pay attention to what was in the envelope. And then each piece became a key component into different experiences he had, until he had the realization of what was going on, the choices he made, and why he wanted to participate. I believe in a life before this life. And not in the context of somebody's telling us the life we're supposed to live here and what we're supposed to do, but from the context of in Eat, Pray, Love, she says, God lives in me as me. I really believe life is God knowing itself through itself for expansion and growth. In essence, we're each of us, God is living through us through the unique filter of us to have experience, to grow in self-awareness. And when we're planning our lives here, when you get here, do you know what you planned your life for? Is it like a blank slate, right? We got amnesia.
Right.
Well, what's the guarantee that you're going to get out of it what you planned for? Well, I think we have certain sacred contracts and agreements. There's a book by Carolyn Myss, Sacred Contracts, that we have these pre-made agreements to have certain relationships with people and interactions and dynamics so that we could gain what we came here for. And pain is a powerful teacher. It would be really great if we learned just from love and positive, kind things, but contrast really is a powerful teacher, and pain is a part of contrast. And it's sort of like we set up certain experiences for ourselves until we come into a conscious awareness in this life that where we can choose in again to the journey we picked for ourselves. Does that make sense?
It totally does.
And so it's like, you know, in that dynamic, it's life isn't happening to you. Life is happening for you. Regardless of how any experience seems, really, that's all that's going on. I mean, pain gets a bad rap. Everybody's trying to eradicate it. But, you know, pain is just a messenger and a teacher. And if we get the message, we learn the lesson, the pain can go away. There's this rare condition where people can't feel pain. So if they weren't looking and they stuck their hand in the fire, they wouldn't know they were getting a 3rd degree or, you know, 3rd degree burn. They wouldn't realize it until it might be too late. Pain is just letting us know something isn't working, something's off, go a different direction. But oftentimes we get angry, we ignore it, we have high pain tolerance, and we deal with things that otherwise, if we initially, you know, initiated a response of when we felt pain, we addressed it, then it wouldn't be as negative or as bad as it ends up getting. And my mom, she says, you know, you can have an ounce of prevention or a pound of cure. The choice is up to you. But I think we human beings tend to go for pound upon pound upon pound of cure rather than the ounce of prevention. And kind of going back to what you said is, I feel it's a multifaceted thing of, I don't think it's that we were to avoid those experiences. I think they were a beautiful dynamic of giving us experience and growth and expansion that, yes, although painful, isn't necessarily not supposed to happen. And I also feel that it's partly generational as well. I mean, the DNA that you get that says your hair is this color and your eyes that color and your skin is this color and you're this tall and bone density is this much. It's sort of like when babies are born, it's like getting a new computer. It's not a complete blank slate. There's some pre-programming that comes on that sucker, right?
Right.
And so, you know, the genetic dispositions aren't just what color eyes you're going to have or how tall you end up being. It's also temperament, predispositions to preferences, and certain choices, you know, and our ancestors made some choices that, you know, in my heart-centered therapy training, one of the things that they mentioned there is it's sort of like living out a broken record. It's a new choice for us, but in reality, it's a repetitive choice that you can see in your ancestry that has been perpetuated, and nobody quite knows why. Well, it's because it's not that we are predisposed, but that the energy is there, and everything is energy. And, you know, sometimes certain experiences can trigger an energy expression or a DNA expression in the body where, you know, someone gets a physical illness. We also have an energy expression that can get triggered from experiences. So it's not just physical things that can manifest. I also believe it's mental, emotional, energetic things that can manifest from experiences.
Well, that's a beautiful response. I knew you would have an extended version in detail because you're so good at that. And the thing that blows my mind with all of it is you're talking about more of emotional pain, right? when you're referring to the pain, but a lot of us are experiencing physical pain. Do you believe that our emotional pain is linked to the physical?
I think we're multifaceted. So I believe we're not just the physical. We're spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. 4 parts. 1 part tangible, 3 parts non-tangible. And there's a phrase that dis-ease can lead to disease. And so I believe it's all connected. And especially as an energy worker, I've done work on myself, and I've gone and been facilitated by other people where I have hypothyroid. I've been in several car accidents, 2 of which I was rear-ended 6 weeks apart. So, I mean, I've had my experience with pain. I know pain. We have a very, intimate relationship, unfortunately. Physical pain, mental pain, emotional pain, spiritual pain, because I grew up with the gifts that I grew up with. I also grew up with depression, and I didn't know I had it as a teenager. So I had emotional pain. I grew up with experiencing suicidal thoughts, even though I didn't want to commit suicide. Mental pain, because I felt crazy, and I didn't understand my experiences. I didn't understand what was happening. I grew up with an overly critic, that voice in our head that criticizes us. And that's a pain. So, I know these different pains exist because I have personal experience with them. And I've seen how releasing one of those non-tangibles, mental, emotional, spiritual pain, has a release in the physical body where a physical pain goes away, even though I didn't specifically do anything to address it. And
it's quite interesting how that works. It's always fascinated me.
Yes, it's very fascinating. I just was working with my best friend doing a session on her because she had limited mobility in one of her shoulders with pain. And I didn't do anything, even though there's some modalities that I've learned to do work on the physical body to help release pain there. I didn't do anything but an emotional process for her that addressed, some core issues from her past growing up. And she was telling me how much better she's feeling and less pain. And I know what I know. And I know that, we have things that show up in the physical body because, quite frankly, that's when we're finally willing to listen.
You're like, hello, here is your sign.
Well, I think of a courier, somebody who brings messages, and they only get paid when the message is delivered. Are they going to be persistent?
Absolutely.
They're not going to quit until the job is done because they don't get paid until the message is received. And oftentimes we are more than willing to be an ostrich with our head in the sand and ignore things. And we have developed a high tolerance for pain. And I mean, you go out in the world today and you'll see a lot of people who are in a lot of pain, and people who will wait decades for some very, extremely painful physical chronic issues. And it didn't have to be that way. That's the thing that's really sad, is it doesn't have to be that way.
Do you believe that more of the chronic illnesses, especially like autoimmune diseases and things of that nature, are specifically related to past trauma or event or even abuse of some kind in their life or perhaps a previous life?
I really feel that all of that's very interconnected. The body is a beautiful gift. It's a vehicle for experience in this physical world. And it also allows us to move the non-tangible things. It allows us to energetically move things quicker, moving things physically. And so it really is. It's all interconnected. Separation is an illusion. Just because your nose and your toe aren't right next to each other doesn't mean that they don't have some sort of relationship.
Oh, good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
It is all connected. We're
Just
all connected.
ask anybody who smells their own stinky feet.
Hey, I could do that, actually. We are wandering tonight with Misty Rose Merck. And of course, as always, it's just our first break, so we're just getting started. You'll want to be here with us when we return because then we'll be visiting for another half an hour, and then we will be taking call-ins for our very first time. So stay close, guys. We'll be right back.
Intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Feeling sluggish, bloated, gassy, and, well, you know, want some relief? Try Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. Our unique blend of all natural herbs go to work on your digestive tract, giving you So before you try our super strength formula. It does a great job removing intruders that jack you up. Thousands of people use Life Change Tea every month, so try it because you're gonna love the way you feel. And here's a little pick-me-up. Order now and receive 10% off your first order by entering in 10 today in the coupon code. That's 10 today in the coupon code. Go to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Enter 10 today in the coupon code for your 10% discount. Wow, feeling good never felt so good. Get some tea love at getthetea.com. Changing America one tea bag at a time.
Okay, so 5 tacos of cheese and a large soda. That's $10,012. Please drive around.
Wait, 10,000 what?
It's obvious you're buzzed and driving.
I've only had a few. I'm fine.
Yeah, the food's $12, but getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Please drive around. Actually, just park and come in.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Around the world for decades have come high strangeness reports of mysterious aerial lights, beams, animal mutilations, human abductions, secret space and military programs focused on an alien presence. One reporter of these Earth mysteries is Emmy Award-winning TV producer, writer, and editor Linda Moulton Howe. She reports and edits the science, environment, and real X-Files news website, earthfiles.com.
We are moving from the paradigm that we are alone in the universe to a new one in which we are not alone. And something out there is interacting with us, our animals and plant life, forcing glimpses of other realities upon us.
Linda has produced 4 large books about these phenomena with hundreds of color images and illustrations that reviewers such as New York Times best-selling author Jim Marrs describes as an amazing accumulation of evidence. All her books, An Alien Harvest, the 2-volume Glimpses of Other Realities, and Mysterious Lights and Crop Circles, along with documentaries, are available in the shop at earthfiles.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
Hello, welcome back to Soul Wanderings, hosted here on the wonderful KGRAradio.com. We are wandering with my beautiful friend and guest this evening, Misty Rose Merck. I like the rose added to it. It does add a little something special. So I'll make sure that happens, Misty Rose. She's just over here nodding her head. Yes, that's good. Do that. Yeah. Where did the rose come from?
It's my grandmother's first name.
My grandmother's first name is Rose.
Yeah. My mom, initially I was going to be named after some state. And my grandmother loved the song Misty.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was thinking of a middle name, and she's like, well, Misty Rose. So, yeah. And I named my business Misty Rose's Healing. So I just, introduced myself as Misty Rose Merck so that people understand my business. And it's very personal to me. My grandmother, I didn't have her for very long. She passed away when I was 1 year old, but she's been a very important person in my life. With the gifts that I have, I've been able to interact with her and feel her presence and know her, even though I didn't get to know her in a physical way.
Right.
Very much.
How amazing is that?
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother, Roseanne, when she passed, I was really excited that I still had the ability to receive communications from her. Because it's so comforting and so amazing to know that veil is so thin and that we are still able to be so close to our loved ones.
Yes.
And before I questioned it, because you do, even when you know, but you still question it. But my grandma has always been very adamant about me knowing that she is with me all of the time. I mean, you know that. You've shared that with me before, and she's just, I love that. I love that we have that for us, that going for us.
Yeah.
Everyone does. Do you hear that, you guys?
Everybody does. Everybody has the ability to sense and perceive the things that I can do. It's just people are tuned out.
Right.
People are checked out and unfortunately numbed out and not paying attention.
This may be a very common question. Maybe our listeners may already know, but maybe there's one out there that this could help. When someone is wanting to connect with a loved one that has passed, what are some ways that you feel that our loved ones and angels are communicating with us? What
signs
do they do?
And symbols. I mean, everybody has that moment where they swear they felt, something. They smelled a smell and it reminded them of the experience they had with so and so, or they felt like somebody touched them even though nobody was there. There are those things, but on a daily, regular basis, signs and symbols. I mean, for me, when I see the symbol, when I see roses, Grandma saying hi, and I'll feel her. Certain colors, people who are in numerology understand the importance of paying attention to numbers. It just, for me, when I'm working with somebody who is wanting to make that connection and have that awareness, I tell them, pick a color, pick any color, just whatever comes to your mind when you think of that person. And you'll be surprised how you'll start to see that color everywhere. Someone who's wanting to make a connection and feel that person and be aware. They want some sign that person's there. Sometimes it's an animal, butterflies, cats, and all of a sudden, they pick up a little handkerchief that has an embroidery on it, and when they look at it, it's that animal. Things that just show up in the most interesting and strangest of ways. But it's real.
And not coincidental.
No. Coincidences, accidents, whatever you want to call them. I just call them, is it God, the universe is remaining anonymous? I don't believe in in accidents or coincidences. I just believe in unaware moments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when you're actually offering readings to people, for instance, Misty Rose offers group intuitive readings at my shop, Vibes, and she has a group of people show up and she will share messages with them. And most people would think that when you get into a group setting like that, that you're going to be communicating with them about so-and-so who crossed over, or this angel who's with you, or whatever that looks like. But your readings are all over the place and very different than a lot of readers. In fact, I know you're familiar with John Edward.
Mm-hmm.
I adore that man, and he communicates a lot with those who have crossed over. But if you've ever seen any of his videos where he's just with someone one-on-one, he does readings a lot like you, where he's reading the energy, like in and around that person, and giving them the kind of information that I've seen and also have received from you. So explain to me what that looks like, because you aren't connecting to Aunt Sally necessarily. You're connecting to the energy.
Yeah. For me, the way I try and explain, how I experience things is when you're in the electronics department, all the TVs and radios are on, it's just background noise, and somebody turns one up louder than the others. People are like that for me. They're on all the time. It's just background noise. I've just adapted to that's how life is for me. But sometimes it's sort of like getting tapped on the shoulder, or I choose to pay attention because somebody's coming to me for a session.
Mm.
But when I work with people, my intention is always simply this: what's for your highest good right now? Not what I think it might be, not necessarily what you think it might be, but what is your soul? What is the universe, for what's going to serve you best? And quite frankly, whatever's going on in your life that's of most importance to you is generally what shows up. When I read people, because I don't come from an intention of what it has to be, and honestly, I don't feel like I'm doing anything other than doing what I'm told. If it's not about talent or ability or I can do this or I can do that. I think my superpower is simply I'm really good at doing what I'm told.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to move my thoughts and feelings, my perspectives out of the way so that whatever will serve you best. And that's by paying attention to what shows up in the energy. And I have people come to me, they have very specific goals. They want to work on a very specific subject matter. But most people come to me, they just want me to read them and whatever shows up. And whether somebody has a specific goal or not, I find that whatever is on their mind or on their hearts at that moment, that's what comes up. So sometimes we're talking about an experience from their past that's blocking them from, a financial goal or something in their relationship or acting on their dreams. It's talking about emotional things, or sometimes, it's sitting there and some people are so in their head, they can't see the forest for the trees, and it's helping them. It's seeing the mental energy and what's going on there. And sometimes somebody, I don't get your Grandpa Joe's come over and he wants this. It's more, I'll feel a presence. I'll feel a male energy, and sometimes I'll get an essence of age or a female energy, or I feel an angel. It really depends on the person that I'm engaging with. How open and receptive they are is the determining factor to what they get out of a session. How much content, how deep, because when people are very closed, it doesn't serve us to give somebody something that we're not ready for.
I agree.
And so my come from being always trying to be respectful. It's hard for me to describe how sessions go because they are so different and so varying, because quite honestly, I'm listening and sharing what I get. And that's really, so as different as people are the messages.
Mm-hmm.
It really, some people, their desire is to focus on business things, but in the session, their personal life, their relationship comes up because that's what's blocking their success in business. But, they're not necessarily making that connection. Kind of where you were talking about having physical ailments and the emotional, mental components that's really being the root cause. There's lots of root causes that seemingly on the surface have nothing to do with the topic that they're choosing or the topic that's come up.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's connected and we just don't understand. I mean, sometimes it's a tangled web that's been woven from perspectives, beliefs, from experiences and things. But it's a little hard to try and describe a session when I don't have a set way. I have a set way of working, as in preparing myself to remove any judgments that I might have about somebody, because I want to be a clear vessel for those messages, and I don't want to taint them with my perspectives and beliefs. And so really my whole life, especially this year, has become a thing of trying to heal and erase those things that could be potential obstacles for when I do the work that I do. Because quite frankly, I don't work. I live my passion and I play. This is like the best life I could possibly imagine having, because I absolutely love what I get to be a part of and what I get to do. Because as I was saying before, I feel like I have a backstage pass. I feel like I really get to see people, and seeing people's facades can be so disheartening when you realize what's underneath, when you see the truth.
Yeah.
And how beautiful and magnificent and amazing it is. At times I really feel like crying because I wish I could put a mirror in front of somebody to see what I've been shown. And it doesn't mean I walk around in my whole life and in my relationships and see everyone and everything that way. I get in my head. I have my facades that,
You're
however,
still human,
still on that journey of awakening and coming into a level of consciousness that hopefully will allow me to be a better expression of the energy and the light and love that I am. I feel like all people, all human beings, are a unique expression of the light and love of the divine in the universe, a place where heaven and earth come together as one. And from there, getting to do what I get to do is like a energetic Disneyland. I feel like it's playtime when I work with people.
Yeah.
Because of what I get to be a part of. It's just amazing.
How does seeing someone from behind the scenes affect your relationships?
Compassion. I feel like it's given me a lot of compassion and patience and a willingness to, when we get our feelings hurt or we're having something difficult or negative in a relationship, it's real easy to jump into the stories of they don't care about me, they don't love me, I'm not important, or whatever black hole story we create to make sense of all of our experiences growing up. But when you can see, it sounds terrible, their choice had nothing to do with me. They weren't even thinking about me when they made that choice. I wasn't on their mind. That sounds kind of callous, but the reality is how often that's the truth. So at the end of the day, there's nothing to be offended by or hurt by. Yes, I've been impacted by their choice. I've been affected, but that wasn't the end goal. They didn't make their choice with the goal or the intention of, I'm going to get you. I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to ruin your day. It was an unhappy byproduct. And being able to have those different perspectives means I'm not getting knocked over by the waves of life so roughly anymore. I'm able to have more peace and more joy and happiness, and realizing, how many times we're told by so many different people, Eckhart Tolle, Oprah Winfrey, the big names out there of New Age thinking and everything else, that happiness is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, how often do you feel like you really have a choice when it comes to happiness, right? You feel like you're being tossed on this tsunami wave, crashing against the shores of relationships, going, what the? Why'd you do that? Well, because honestly, they didn't think it all through or understand the repercussions, whatever. There's a multitude of reasons. But at the end of the day, that wasn't the end goal.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is they do love me. I am important. They do care. And this happened. I'm really, my life is becoming a lot about and. I'm thinking thoughts I don't want to think, and I'm still good, and I love myself, and I can do this. I'm feeling feelings that hurt right now, and I'm going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having an interaction with someone, and yes, it's not desirable, and they still love me. I still love them, and we can find productive ways to come to solutions, healthy ones, not a hurt person hurting people because they're hurting and perpetuating that hurt.
Right. It's so neat to hear your perspective on how you interact with others, even with the gift that you have. Once again, I always want to express, like, we all have this gift. You have just honed in and really practiced and strengthened that muscle in order to do this on a daily basis, and as well as you do. But it's neat that you are able to look at people so openly and non-judgmentally, and also create an environment which is safe for them to be them, and not, because I've been around people where in the beginning of this journey, like maybe 10, 11 years ago, where I didn't want to be around people who could see me, because they could see things that I knew I didn't want them to see, or anyone else to see. And now I feel like I'm very transparent in who I am and what I do now, where I'm an open book anyways. And I've never been uncomfortable being around you. But that's not just because I'm comfortable with myself, but you've given that to me as well. You've made it comfortable for me to just be me. And I think that's a gift in of itself.
Thank you. It didn't happen overnight. I mean, I'm a daughter of a single mom, and, grew up with my dad didn't want me, and, my grandparents passed away, didn't get a chance to know them, and just a lot of story, a lot of black holes about how I was unwanted, and I wore the story of being a victim because I grew up in poverty. I had been molested.
If anyone wants to know your backstory too, we did go into that in our first Wandering Together, episode 84, which can be found in the archives.
Yeah.
But not to interrupt you, but so if they want to know more in depth about who you are, it was a really good episode where we dug in deeper to your back history and who you were and who you've become.
Yeah. And with all of those different experiences, my illness, the thing that's on there describing in my short bio, is really it was the thing that motivated me, that brought me to the place of understanding my gifts and how to use them. And from there, I don't want to go through it again, but I am really grateful for it, because it was that catalyst that brought me to where I stand now. And I love where I am, and I see where I'm heading, and I'm super excited for that and can't wait to get there too.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah. And it's just desire and commitment are really the determining factors on where anyone gets in life. And I really clung, I mean, tooth and nail to this journey and where it's been taking me. And sometimes it hurts. It's uncomfortable, that's for sure. However, at the same time, though, it's brought me my greatest blessings, my greatest joys. I cannot even begin to describe the awesome and amazing opportunities and experiences that I've had because I've been willing to go there.
Right. That's the part, too. It's not just handed to you. It's something you're always working on and working towards. It's strengthening that muscle, like I said.
The universe is going to see how much you want it.
Right. You will be tested.
Mm-hmm. But I find that it's us testing ourselves.
Oh, for
because
sure.
we're the ones who have to know that we're willing to go there or how bad we really want it.
I agree. And that's a good way to look at it too. I've looked at my past experiences so differently now than I did when I was in them, even recent ones, but more so the past ones where before I was more of a victim, and now I look at those as these amazing opportunities that brought me to this place that I am now. And as painful as they were then, I don't look at it as a victim any longer. I look at it as, thank you, universe, for providing me this gift, because it has created this strength in me, or, this ability in me because of what I went through.
Yeah.
It's more from a place of gratitude.
There's a movie called Marwin. Welcome to Marwin.
Another one I haven't seen.
A gentleman who went through a horrible hate crime based on a true story, and I'm sure they liven it up for movie. But it just, there was a moment in there where I totally lost my train of thought there for a second.
That's all right.
It happens, right?
It does. I do it a lot. And I do it on air. I'm like, Amanda,
Yeah.
It's okay. You're human, right?
Yeah. Thank goodness. I'd hate to be an alien. Who knew what color I'd be in?
Yeah. Well, I had made a comment about our past experiences being our growth, being coming from a place of gratitude instead of a victim mentality.
Yeah. It just is. It's a thing of trying to really understand that those experiences are really giving us an opportunity for something that if we can. Okay, now I remember. So he had to go through a healing journey, and a person who was there in physical therapy with him said, you have to embrace the pain. Embrace the pain. And I was at a convention, and there was a business component of training, and they said the people that don't try to just get through the low but embrace it are the ones who have the greatest success. And, I was thinking, I look at life as kind of like a bow and arrow, we're pulling back on that bow. That's the uncomfortable, tight, hard, hurting, painful parts. And it's like, oftentimes I have lived my life where I'm just trying to get through things and I'm missing out on so much. What if I embrace that low, that pull back and really sink into it? Then when you let go, that arrow's going to shoot even farther.
Right.
So, I've really started this journey of trying to embrace the pain and not just get through things. I was at a training where we did a blindfolded, you hold on to a rope and you follow it. Well, they've got several ropes and a crisscross and a lot of other blind people up there too. And the goal is to follow it and stay on course and then make it to the end of this thing. And I did that, bumped into a couple people here and there. You have to navigate. You're out in the middle of nature and you can't see what you're doing. I get to the end of this thing and I realized I'm at the end. I made it. Okay, but I just rushed through and I just got through it, but I didn't really have any fun. I missed the whole having fun and paying attention to the experience. And I was like, well, that's really interesting. That's very insightful because that's how I spend a lot of my time in life, just getting through it all, even the happy, fun things. What if I just took a moment to enjoy the journey, enjoy the process? Maybe things might be more happy and I might get more out of it than just rushing through everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, There you go.
Yeah, that's a good. There you go.
There you go.
The end.
The end.
You guys are listening to Soul Wanderings here on KGRAradio.com. We are going to take a break. And like I said, it's going to be the top of the hour when we return. So I hope you guys get ready to call in for our first time ever here on Soul Wanderings and ask Misty a question. You need either ask her a question from her experiences, or if you're wondering a possible answer or share from a question about yourself, now would be the time to call. So you'll want to call 85KGRA Live, LIVE. That's 855-472-5483. And we'll be back shortly, you guys.
Is that a new music app?
Yeah, check it out. Surfer Music Discovery. It links to thousands of online stations, but the twist is you see the song names and artists that are now playing live.
That's different. No guessing. Looks like a waterfall of music.
So many formats. Rock, oldies, country, R&B, jazz, and a whole lot more.
How's that spelled?
Surfer. S-U-R-F-R.
Is it expensive?
It's free. No need to sign up or sign in.
Get the Surfer Music app free from Google Play or the App Store.
Hi, Matt Ray here with America's First News, and I have a question for you. What do we all have in common, regardless of our age or profession, the busy, the elderly, students? Doesn't matter. What do we all have in common? Stress, right? Stress causes anxiety in our lives, and we are susceptible to memory issues from time to time, too. So why not guard against both? Guard against the effects of chronic stress and improve your memory with one supplement, Calm and Clever. Ingredients help enhance memory and retain new information, while other ingredients reduce stress by maintaining healthy levels of the stress hormone cortisol. Calm and Clever was created by scientist Kurt Hendricks, a principal investigator in 2 NIH-funded studies on Alzheimer's disease. Sharpen your mind and feel calm and centered. Try Calm and Clever. Go to calmandclever.com. Enter the promo code radio for $5 off. Again, calmandclever.com. Enter the promo code radio for $5 off.
Come on, smile. Oh, honey, he's still not smiling.
Maybe he's not a smiler.
Yeah, maybe he's just not a happy baby.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Or maybe he's teething.
Maybe it's just a phase.
Maybe he has autism, and we can definitely do something to help.
Maybe is all you need to find out more about autism. No big, joyful smiles by 6 months is one early sign. Learn the others at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Author Kathleen Watts, a.k.a. Thought Continuum, shares a double abduction experience in her book, Catch Me If You Can, a story of alien abduction and culprit plunder. This 1976 true life account of a close encounter in northern Utah near Hill Air Force Base. Imagine driving home from the movies with your spouse when your car suddenly stops working, and it's in that very same moment that you realize you are the only thing animated. Catch Me If You Can, the 5th anniversary edition with lead-in material for the upcoming release of Payback is a Glitch from award-winning author Kathleen Watts. Get your copy today. Log on to thoughtcontinuum.com. That's thoughtcontinuum.com.
You're your UFO paranormal powerhouse of live alternative talk radio. KGRA, The Planet.
Everyone, welcome back. You are listening to Soul Wanderings on KGRA Digital Broadcasting, Salt Lake City, Utah, Hudson Valley, New York. And you can find Soul Wanderings here on KGRA Radio, as well as many other platforms like iTunes, iHeartRadio, TalkStream Live, Spreaker, Spotify. The list goes on and on. You can also find all of Soul Wanderings and the archives, as well as all the other shows hosted here on the station on the official KGRA Radio YouTube page. So make sure you guys are headed over there for the latest show archives. But wherever you are hanging out from tonight, welcome. We're so happy to have you here with us this evening. If you have questions for our guest tonight, or you're ready for a reading, the phone lines are now officially opened for the first time ever here on Soul Wanderings. If you guys have a question specifically for our guest in general about her and her abilities, or if you are wondering an answer to a question for you, make sure you guys give us a call at 85KGRA Live. That's 855-472-5483. All right, Misty, are you ready for this?
Yes.
It's going to be fun. I'm so glad it's you that we get to do this with. And we already have a caller. Ron, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, this is Ron from Minnesota. What is your question for Misty tonight?
Hi, first of all, I want to say thank you, AJ, for taking calls, and thank you, Misty, for participating in the open lines. And thank you to Race, and of course to our other producer, Eric, that's in Utah. I always forget Eric, and some of the others always remind us, remember Eric, don't forget Eric. So I wanted to make sure I remembered Eric. And, you know, we got so many behind-the-scenes people that participate in radio that we don't even know
it's true.
What's happening.
It's very true.
And so I'm really thankful for everyone that helps, you know, KGRA and the operation behind the scenes that we don't even have a clue what's happening. So glad that we can get the show on the live show tonight. Misty, I had a question for you. You have a connection with nature in general, and then when you do a reading with somebody, how do you connect with them without being like you might have a judgmental perception of somebody before you go into that reading? How do you block that out and do a realistic answer for the person that's asking a question? That make any sense?
Oh yeah, I get it. Really, it's been about one, not making it about me, because that's where all those judgments and perspectives come from. Is it comes from myself and my thoughts and feelings. And when I live my life and I am who I am, but I've really trained myself because I want to help people as much as possible. For me, it's really about getting all of that out of the way as much as possible. And when I walk into a room or a session, for me, it's really about, okay, I get it. Those are my thoughts and those are my feelings. Putting them aside and really going to the divine and going to the universe and saying, I see my filters. I see my perspective. Now you show me the truth. You show me what you see. And I pray, I meditate, and in those I ask to see from that higher perspective and perceive from that place. And that's when I've had my most amazing experiences, is because you're right. You know, I would walk into a room, I might have a judgment, I might see a person and think a certain thought about them. But when I've put those things aside and I listen to that energy, I'm blown away with perhaps this is how I might have solved them. And then I'm shown this other perspective, this other way of seeing them. And it's quite amazing, which reinforces my desire to put aside those things, to have a clear perspective.
I like that. Can you
Ron, thank you for the question. Are you open to having a message shared with you?
I was going to ask that if you could do that over the phone line or through Skype. But I'm on Skype right now.
Yep, we'll do it right now. She has a little message to share with you.
Thank you.
So, Ron, what I get about you is you really are a sweetheart. You're a teddy bear on steroids. You have a very inquisitive mind, and you're very thoughtful. You have a very big, caring heart, and you care a lot. But sometimes I feel it's a struggle for you to express how you really feel from your heart. And sometimes it feels like you're because you're struggling to express how you feel. Sometimes you're talking and then not able to feel like you've made the point you wanted to make. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does very much. I don't know how to
perceive that causes that is you have what I refer to as a head-heart disconnect, meaning sometimes because you feel so much, it feels overwhelming. You kind of get in your head and you're speaking from your thoughts more than you are from your feelings. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
And so it's just one, acknowledging, you're a thinker and you love thinking on things. You love understanding things and seeing how they work and things of that nature. So it's acknowledging your thoughts, but trusting that what you have to say from your heart, sharing your emotions. I know that feels very vulnerable, but when you share from your heart, that's when you start making the connections that you want to make with people. Does that make sense?
I like that. Yeah. And I'm going to have to work on that. Would you recommend to accomplish some of this I've heard of meditation being a good source of getting in connection with in tune or so, whatever you want to call it, in tune with yourself, whatever. Meditation is a possible operation.
I would say it's you have your mind is so full of thoughts, and your thoughts go really fast. You have it races. That sometimes it's also hard for you to speak because it's hard to slow it down. So meditation would actually be something that I would recommend. If I were working with you in a session, I would definitely recommend. One is a breathing meditation. Two would be a chakra clearing meditation, because
there's just a little bit of block around your throat chakra and heart chakra is what it feels like. And by helping balancing out those chakras, it will help you with moving the energy that's causing that difficulty with you speaking from your heart, which is part of why you speak from your mind more than your speak from your thoughts more than your emotions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
yes.
meditation to slow down the thought process, and then a guided meditation so a breathing meditation to slow down the thoughts, and then a guided meditation that specifically focuses on clearing and balancing the chakras so that you can become a little more heart-centered. And then just when you are wanting to speak from the heart, acknowledge your mind's contribution, all of those thoughts, because what we resist persists. And if you resist feeling overwhelmed by your thoughts, then it just gets worse and worse and worse. By acknowledging it, it can help to calm down your thinking processes so that you can be willing to express from your heart. You're a very caring person. Just in the way that you were speaking with AJ, wanting to express gratitude for all the different people in the studio is a witness to that deeply caring heart that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Very much appreciated. And AJ, you are so much appreciated every single week.
Oh, thank you.
And I look forward to your show every week. Thank you for the phone call. And I'll let someone else go. All right, thank you.
Good night, dear. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So there was an example of Misty sharing her gift with Ron. That was really neat and so completely accurate. Even in the chat room, he's sharing, and other people who know Ron were just, yeah, he's spot on. You are spot on. And that doesn't surprise me because I know you and I've been a witness to the amazing abilities that you have many, many times. I don't think there's ever been a dry eye when you've left the shop with just what you have shared. And thank you. Thank you for doing that. That's really neat. It's really neat that you do it over the phone and that you don't even know the person. It just is, a confirmation that you are legit. There's so many people out there.
Well, when I work with people, I really want to know as little as possible. I want as little as possible in my own head.
Right.
So I really try to work to not know anything about people.
Right. Do you find that there are a lot of people out there who claim to have these abilities, honed in, that are merely just doing it for profit? And how do you differentiate between someone who is legit and who is coming from that place of ego?
I know it exists. I have to say, to some degree, I'm pretty oblivious because I don't really seek it out so much. I've gone to people to learn and things of that nature, but in the work that I do, I have come across people doing similar things, and energy follows intention, and intention rules all. And I find you can pretty much, you'll know who, I guess, legit or isn't based off of the intentions and what they're doing. I've seen people with legitimate gifts, but they are making it about money.
Yeah.
In both dynamics, because I made it about money, as in, how could I possibly charge money for what I do? And what I've learned is the reality is I can't. I feel I can't charge for my gifts. But in order to do what I do, it means saying no to time with my family. It means using my family's resources. And so I do charge for sessions, not because I'm charging for my gifts, but because I'm charging for everything in order to be there. Yes. But I've seen other people where they make it about money. And I've had a session from someone who they have gifts and when I walked away from the session, I felt a little used because for me, when you're in the driver's seat as the person doing the session, and the way the session was ran is there was a session fee and then $1 per minute we went over. And I wasn't in charge of the time. I didn't have a clock available to me. And so they were the ones who decided when the session came to an end. And then I was told how much it cost and that they had reduced it for me. And it was still a big number. And I did not like that feeling. And I never want anyone to have that feeling who's working with me. I don't want someone to feel used or feel tainted because it taints the message. It taints the session. It taints the work. It taints the benefit. So that's yet another place where I really try to keep my intentions clean. And because I've been
so
there.
Important. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It really is. As facilitators, our intentions are highly important because in the work that I do, I'm asking people to be vulnerable and open to vulnerable things, vulnerable topics, vulnerable emotions and experiences and memories and beliefs, and vulnerability can feel very unsafe done in ways where intentions aren't clean. Vulnerability can be an empowering, healing experience when intentions are clean.
Right. You know, for me personally, that was one thing I didn't know how to do very well. And once I realized being vulnerable was actually a good thing, not a bad thing, I can't even tell you the doors that opened up for me and the growth that I experienced. This beautiful, beautiful experiences that I've had because I've let my walls down in that way, where I thought I was so strong before to be, so solid and not let anyone in or anyone hurt me or share my feelings because, I don't want to be too much or whatever that looks like. It really has been an amazing experience for me personally to be able to let my guard down and be vulnerable and be authentic. It is such a good feeling.
Well, vulnerability is a superpower. When you're not being vulnerable, you're defending multiple assets, multiple places, multiple, things. And, there's a saying, when you fight a war on more than one front, you're doomed. You look at actual wars, where they were fought on multiple fronts. Those people were defeated. Vulnerability creates a single-mindedness, a oneness there. And it really does put you in a place of power that nothing else really can give you.
It's very true.
It's a thing of when you're not being vulnerable, you're getting hurt. You're having pain. You're experiencing pain. And the reality is you're only not being vulnerable because you're trying to avoid getting hurt and avoid pain. So at the end of the day, you're not avoiding the thing you're trying to avoid by not being vulnerable. Right. You're experiencing it anyway. So if you're going to experience pain and hurt, wouldn't you rather do so while living the life you want to live, being the way you want to be, being who you are instead of pretending?
Right. It would make more sense.
Well,
we have such a great way of overcomplicating everything, don't we?
Yes,
we so do.
We're trading constant pain to avoid potential pain. How's that working out?
Yeah, it's not. It's not working out. Yeah. It's not working out at all.
No, it is in the fact that you're avoiding the maybe pain. But
the maybe pain,
but instead you're experiencing an all the time pain. What kind of a trade-off is that? It's because we made a purchase without paying attention to the price tag, and we just get sticker shock when you finally flip it around.
Yeah. And we really are doing ourselves a disservice when we aren't allowing ourselves these opportunities. it's fascinating to me how we're so good at limiting ourselves and having excuses or playing the victim or whatever that is. I don't know why we do it. We just do, and we're so good at it. But it's really amazing on the other side of it. On the other side of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because we like playing games.
What do you mean by that?
We're trying to make sense of things, and when we play games, we're trying to understand how make sense out of the experiences that we're having. And by playing the games, it's kind of, we don't want to face something. We don't want to really deal with something. We're trying to avoid things. So maybe I feel my feelings got hurt in an interaction with you. And instead of having a conversation, we play a game where we hint around or try to get to the topic without actually bringing up the topic. Because if we go directly, bring up the topic, and you don't like it and have an experience we don't want, then we are outed. There's no coming back from that. So we play the game and we hint at things. And in essence, the game is just a way to avoid directness. The game is indirect. So we have stereotypes for a reason, the wife getting upset about the trash.
Right.
But she doesn't ask for the trash to be taken out, right? She wants to be able to have it taken out without that.
Mm-hmm.
And so what does she do? She hints at it. And then there's you don't love me if you didn't take out the trash.
Right,
and so
right.
the reason why she's so upset isn't because you didn't take the trash out. It's because the message she interpreted, the game, was if you take the trash out without me having to ask, you love me. And if I have to ask, then you don't love me.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
And it's such right. That miscommunication is happening constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's even happened for myself. It's just a thing
We're
that
humans
happens.
and we all play the game.
Mm-hmm, for sure. We have another caller. Hello, Karen from Utah. Thank you for calling Soul Wanderings. Are you there?
Hi, I love your show. Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you for calling. Do you have a question for Misty?
I don't know. I'm just kind of curious if she can feel anything on the phone about, I've been dealing with some health issues lately, and I'm just wondering if maybe she can sense or feel anything that pertains to that.
Is that something you're able to do,
Does
Misty?
that make sense?
We'll start by reading your energy and we'll see what comes up, okay?
Okay.
I
don't.
So, let's see.
Just hold tight while she fills you out for just a moment.
Okay.
And while she's doing that, you guys, I just want you to know we are commercial free the second hour and the phone lines are open. If you are interested in getting a reading with Misty Rose, tonight is the night to do that. The phone lines are open. 85-KGRA live. That's 855-472-5483.
Okay, Karen. So, you feel very empathic. Do you know what an empath is?
Kind of somebody that reads other people's energy or feels other people's energy?
Yes, feels. So sympathy is to see someone in an experience and say, that looks hard. Empathy is to say, I know what that feels like. I've been there, done that. Empathic is, I know how you feel, and I don't know how I know it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see that about yourself?
I guess I can
aware
a little
of
bit.
other people's emotions, even when they're not expressing them directly or talking about them. Does that make sense?
Yes. I definitely can pick up on, I guess, unspoken vibes
Yes, because
Little
you're
bit?
very empathic. You're very in tune. You're very sensitive, very emotionally sensitive. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So
Oh
kind
my
of
gosh,
think of yin
so
and yang
sensitive.
energy. Okay. The yin and yang energy is when that emotional sensitivity passes through positivity like faith, love, and trust. It's sensitivity. That energy is sensitivity. When it passes through pain, fear, and doubt, it becomes critical or criticism. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So what I feel is you have an overly critical voice in your head. Does that make sense?
Wow, I sure do.
You're really
Yes,
hard
I
on
do.
yourself. And what I feel is that what happens is it that voice paralyzes you. Like there's a lot of things you want to be doing but aren't doing because you're trying to do things perfectly. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So perfectionism is just a survival tool of trying not to get hurt. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes.
So, as in, you're very smart and very emotionally sensitive, but you're trying to do things perfectly so that you don't get criticized. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay. So, not just for an example's sake, nobody in this world is perfect, but we're just for an example, Christ was considered someone who was supposed to be perfect in this world. And socially, we equate perfection with no problems and not getting hurt. Does that make sense?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So he was bullied, ridiculed, slandered, beaten, betrayed, falsely accused, imprisoned, and murdered. Would you say that's a life full of problems and pain?
Absolutely.
So being perfect does not equal not getting hurt. It doesn't equal no problems. All it equals is being able to love anyway. Does that make sense?
Oh, I really like that. To love anyway.
Which you have the ability to do. So in essence, you have a strong perfectionism mechanism that just was developed as a survival technique for being in overly critical environments growing up. Does that make sense?
Yes, that really
and you're
does.
Very sensitive. Yeah, you're very emotionally sensitive, and you take everything to heart. So if I were working with you, what I would suggest is, 1, learn everything you can about the gifts that you have, being empathic.
Okay.
Because not knowing about your gifts, I feel like you get anxiety. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
I do have anxiety. I'm on medication for anxiety.
So
yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Being empathic when you suppress the feelings that you feel, that can lead to depression. Being empathic when you get anxiety, for me, my understanding of it is this. You know when you take a bottle from one altitude to another and the bottle starts to crush?
Yes.
When your energy, your internal energy of yourself is off. Because you're so sensitive and you're perceiving external energy, when it starts to overwhelm your system, you feel crushed. And so your body, your system, to maintain life, to your body, balance equals life. So it doesn't mean it's going to be good or better or that it's right or wrong. Your body will create balance however it needs to do that, even if it means creating imbalance. So when the external energy that you're perceiving as an empath starts to overwhelm you, your internal energy starts to increase to match the external energy, and that's causing anxiety. Does that make sense?
It does, yes. I can see that.
So by learning about your gifts, you're going to start being able to differentiate between this is me and this isn't. That's going to bring you a lot of peace in and of itself, because right now, things that are overwhelming you aren't actually yours. Imagine being a magnet walking through a room full of metal. What are you going to look like by the time you get to the end of that room?
Right,
Hot
right.
mess,
Oh, yeah.
right? And that's what you're doing. You're walking around in life, sponging, holding on to things that don't belong to you, experiencing them as if they are you and yours. So knowledge is power, in my opinion, because the more you know, the more choices you have. The more choices you have, the freer you become. And in the place of freedom, that's where peace is. That's where joy and happiness, that's where health and healing is. So speaking from my own personal experience, I've had a lifetime of health issues, all because I didn't understand my gifts and abilities, and I was being affected and impacted by them. And that's like being in the middle of the ocean on one leg, tossed aside by the waves that come along. If we can give you balance, put your other foot down, now you can experience the ocean in joy and experience those waves as a delight instead of as a painful experience. So one is to educate yourself. Learn all you can about being an empath and what that looks like for you. Because even though there's lots of empaths, the gift looks different to each person because we're all different. The other thing I would recommend is set yourself a self-care routine and be committed and consistent. Not perfect, just consistent. Because what that's going to give you is a foundation of stability that takes care of you, nurtures you, and strengthens you as you learn about your gifts and abilities so that you can stop being so drained. Does that make sense? Because you also feel like you're tired all the time unnecessarily to equal the actions that you've done. Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. You're absolutely right. That's kind of freaky.
The other thing I would do to challenge your perfectionism is to sit down with a coloring page and coloring something that can't be erased or corrected, like markers or crayons, things that are permanent. And then you set a timer and you color the picture. When the timer goes off, you stop, you put your name on it, and then you put it on your refrigerator. Because what we're trying to do is get you to understand that done is better than perfect. Does that make sense?
I really like. Yes, done is better than perfect. I really like that.
Yes. And I have all kinds of mottos. I can do anything for 5 minutes because we get pictures in our head, and if we can't do it exactly like the picture, we don't do it at all. And that has paralyzed me so much in my life, so that now if I at least commit to 5 minutes, usually I end up doing way longer than that because I'm already in the process of doing it. So why stop just because the timer went off?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
When you have perfectionism, it becomes either excessively motivating and you run yourself ragged like a chicken with your head cut off, or it becomes excessively paralyzing and you get little to nothing done.
I feel like I've been on both ends of that spectrum in my life.
And we all of us recovering perfectionists do, because there's times when we have the energy to try and do it all. And then there's times when we're burned out. And so because we can't do it exactly the way we see it in our heads or envision it or think it should be done, we don't do anything. So true.
That really hits home right now, very much so. Yeah, I do kind of feel like I'm paralyzed right now.
So I would, do some research on an empath, do some meditation, get your self-care routine. That this is how the minimum care that I do this every morning, I do this every night, I do this throughout the day. But one of the things is just check in with how you feel. Start asking questions. Are these my feelings? Well, if you're unsure, one of the ways is, do these feelings make sense for the experiences I'm having? If they don't match, generally it has nothing to do with you. You're just kind of like a radio receiver picking up on different stations, which are other people around you.
Oh, that's really interesting. I'm going to definitely start doing that.
Thank you, Karen, so much for calling in. We really appreciate your support. And take note.
Well, thank you for taking the time to listen.
All right. Have a lovely night.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
There you go again, Misty. I know when someone calls in specifically asking for, like, if you can see anything in their body, like a physical thing, it doesn't always show up for you. But energetically, as you're sharing this message, you're using these words that to them may possibly relate to what they're going through physically. Because again, at the beginning of our show, it's all interrelated.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
It's
I would
all
say that
multifaceted, as you said.
I feel that it's not understanding her gifts, and then the kind of domino effect that then it becomes a physical thing. Dis-ease leads to disease.
Right. We still have the lines open for probably another 10 minutes, you guys. So if you want to call in, the number is 85KGRA live. That's 855-472-5483. Calling for a little reading, questions, comments, whatever you would like to share with our guest tonight, Misty Rose Merck. And right now we do have another caller on hold. We'll bring them in. We'd like to welcome to the show Joe from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Hi, Joe. Welcome to Soul Wanderings.
Hello. Thank you. First time calling in. Been listening for quite a while.
Wonderful. Well, we're happy to have you here. Do you have a question for Misty tonight?
I do. My question is, what could I do to better protect myself psychically? And the reason I ask is because I have a supervisor at work who seems to be, I would say, maybe remote viewing or prodding around my personal space, because she sometimes brings up subject matter that just has no premise unless she knew very personal things about me. So my only takeaway from that was she has to be tuned in, and I just need to know how to better protect myself. And plus, I've kind of have felt at moments her prodding. So, like, I know, I'm kind of sensitive myself too, but maybe not as in tune as she is. But I just know at times I've felt that. But what could I do for just better overall protection constantly?
So, Joe, what I hear is you're feeling very emotionally violated.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not just an invasion of your physical space, but what I'm feeling is you're feeling an invasion of your internal world, that private place that nobody exists but you. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So one is there's as many ways to shield and protect your energy as there are people. And I've tried lots of different things because I felt like an open sore walking around in the world getting bumped into all the time. And what I have found that's most effective for me is positive energy, maintaining a certain level of positivity, because everything is energy. Negative energy vibrates at a certain frequency. Positive energy vibrates at a certain frequency. And it's like magnets, like attracts like. So in order for, if I'm at a positive vibration and I'm interacting with someone at a negative vibration, it's like two magnets flipped the wrong way. You can chase that sucker around all you want to, and it's just not going to connect unless one of them flips so that they're on the same level. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So in that scenario, if I'm at a positive level and they're at a negative level, we can engage, be in the same environment, but we're not going to connect until either they raise their level to positivity or I lower my level to negativity. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now, being human, I have not been able to maintain positive energy at all times, wherever I am. And so I recognize there are times when I'm the negative person in the room, or I've lowered my energy to join the negative people in the room. So there are certain things that I do. One is I pray and meditate to clean and clear my energy. I use a shamanic ritual to do that. There's meditations where you can, the guided meditations where they'll help you with clearing your energy, grounding it, and shielding it. Those are the kind of the three key parts: is clearing, grounding, and shielding your energy. Another thing is I use essential oils. I use crystals. I wear them. I have them on my person. I have them in my home. I keep them in my space. I sage my home. I sage my possessions, because everything is energy, and we leave residue energy wherever we go, and again, with people that we interact with. So one is, I would highly recommend that you do a guided meditation. Find what works for you. Think plant. You want to have air, earth, water, and light. So spend some time outside, getting a couple deep breaths where you're getting some sunlight, connecting with nature, and drink plenty of water, being hydrated, because you're very empathic. And you'd be surprised how protecting taking care of yourself and being balanced is. It's a natural shield. And then you, in addition, you add that extra level of positivity, meaning you can have shared experiences with people, but you don't have to join their level of consciousness, because the reality is that's all that's happening, is we're engaging with people's level of consciousness at any time, depending on the experience, the situation, the people, and different things. Our level of consciousness is always varying. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
The other thing is, I would invite you to forgive this person, because forgiveness doesn't equate to agreement. It's not going to validate or say it's okay. What it does is when we have interactions with people, it creates a linked experience. And you, through forgiveness, unlink yourself from them. Does that make sense?
It does, yes.
Because the reality is otherwise you stay linked to that energy of that experience with that person, and then you're walking around with that energy connected to them everywhere you go. And you don't want that. Just in listening with you, feeling your energy, there's this resentment towards them. Do you understand that?
Yes.
So by forgiving them and maintaining your space, your energy, it's not necessarily going to make all of that stop. It's just going to shift the energy so that you stop being so, you're not attracting it as much. Does that make sense? The magnets disconnect.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. What a wonderful message. Joe, thank you so much for calling in. You have a wonderful night.
Thank you, and to the both of you, an awesome night, and keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye. All right, you guys, we are going to take one more call, and then we are going to close the lines for the night. How much fun is this?
Tons of fun. I love what I do.
Hello, Maria. Thank you for calling Soul Wanderings. What would you like to ask our guest, Misty Rose, tonight?
Well, I've had a rough couple of months, probably about a year and a half, and I also see that some more big changes is going to hit my life. I feel good about it. I don't feel upset, but I'm just kind of wondering if there is something I need to watch out for that will put a big speed bump in my way.
Okay. Misty's connecting to your energy right now. Give her just a moment.
So, Maria, just do me a favor and take a deep breath. Because you're your thought process is like a million miles a minute. You're thinking a lot. It feels like everything that you've gone through, it's been very emotional, but there's still emotions that haven't been expressed for you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So one is, I would invite you to kind of clear the air, so to speak, like spring cleaning after winter where the house has been all locked up and things have gotten stagnant. Some of your experience, let's face it, when we're on a roller coaster in life, we kind of hold our breath through some moments. And it just kind of feels like you got stuck in fight or flight and you just kind of holding your breath, waiting for things to be over. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
So, one, just to kind of air things out inside is to release emotions. I would have you watch something that, like a movie or something, that where you could cry to get it out of you. And then follow it up with something that you can laugh about, like America's Funniest Home Videos, a funny movie, go to a comedy. It doesn't matter, just something to get you to laugh. Because once we get that release of crying, releasing those emotions, we want to raise your energy and get you into some positivity. And that's what following things up with laughter will do. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
Because I see... it feels like you're at a fork in the road. You've got to make some important decisions, but right now your mind is heavy and clouded from the burden of the emotions from those past experiences. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
So in order for you to choose the path of least resistance, the path that can bring you peace and joy, it's not going to be without its trials or experiences. It's not going to, one path feels like almost like a repeat of the past. And for you to have clear perspective in making your decision, it's really important to move those emotions from those past experiences. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Because it feels like your fist clenched to kind of up against your chest, where we're trying to hold on and deal with things. And we kind of put that, that hand to our heart with that clenched fist and just kind of holding on tight just to make it through, because it was very difficult for you. So it's really going to be important to release so that nothing else is lingering as you begin to move forward, because you have some really important decisions to make that's going to set the direction and tone of where your life is going.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
Yes. Yes.
I would also invite you to forgive some people, because there were some people who made some choices that have really hurt your heart. Do you understand that?
Yes. Oh, yes.
And
yes.
Again, it goes to that thing of forgiveness doesn't equal agreement. It doesn't make it okay. It doesn't excuse them from their behavior and their choices. It doesn't remove accountability. All it's doing is releasing you from being stuck in those in the past and in those memories and reliving things and being re-traumatized. So I would invite you to write a letter, be as angry as you've got to be, saying why it's not okay, and then forgive them and then burn it. That's called a dump and burn. What you're doing is you're getting that emotional muck up and out, so that you don't get stuck in the muck and then live that life over and over again. Okay?
Funny thing you said that. I had started that journal several months ago, and I've quit writing in it. Mm-hmm. So that's something I need to start doing again.
Pick it back up.
This letter specifically, you're going to burn, because to the psyche, it's going to release things, and that's going to bring a bit of healing for you.
Okay.
Okay?
Wonderful.
That would be wonderful.
Good stuff. Thank you so much for calling in, Maria. It's so good to hear your voice.
It's good to hear you. Thank you.
Thanks, dear. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Maria from the chat room, and I adore her. And I adore you, Misty. Wow, this has been quite an experience. I'm over here rubbing my arms because I'm getting these huge goosey bumps all over with everything that you're sharing. It's just so amazing. Every time I watch you do this, it's just, it fills my heart.
Thank you.
I think we should make this a regular thing. It's been quite fun.
I would love to do it regularly. I love what I get to do.
What do you guys think? Do you think we should have her back on again? Yes. I'll say yes because I know everyone else is going to say yes. It just blows my mind, like the accuracy, just the connection that you have. You can tell you're doing your self-work, your work on yourself in order to be able to show up for others in this way. So, wow.
Thank you.
Just incredible. So we've got to wrap up our show. We're running out of time. Before we do that, I want to make sure everyone knows how to connect with you in case they were interested in receiving a full reading, an hour, whatever that looks like for you guys, because you do have ways that you can connect over, you said Zoom, and
I work with people in person in my office. I also work with people over the phone and through Zoom video. I record my sessions so that people can refer to it if they want to. I know it's hard for them to remember everything that might come up in a session. I do 30-minute, 60-minute, and 90-minute individual sessions. And right now, my individual sessions for Soul Wanderings, if you go to my website and you put in the code Soul Wanderings, all capital letters, you'll get 50% off of my individual sessions for the month of October. Anyone local, I also do group sessions, 90 minutes and 2 hours, where you host it at a location of your choice. I come to that location and I read as many people as I can in the time allotted. Obviously, in that situation, I can't guarantee a certain amount of readings because it really varies who gets a reading and for how long. It really is just a matter of what is for their highest good and who needs what when. But again, I really love what I get to do, and I do record those sessions so that people can reference them, and I email that through a link through Dropbox.
Awesome. I love having recorded sessions because I'll go back and write them all down so I can easily access those memories because you don't remember everything in that moment. Yeah. You did say that they can contact you through your website, but you didn't share that website.
Oh, my website is mistyroseshealing.com. And you can reach me at mistyroseshealing@gmail.com.
Perfect. Again, it's been such a pleasure to have you back on the show, and we are already getting requests to have you back. So we'll have to set another date, darling.
Yeah, lots of fun.
In addition to our coffee dates. I love that you're in my life. Thank you.
Thank you. I love you, AJ.
I love you too, girl. And as a friendly reminder to you all, Soul Wanderings can be found on all the social media platforms. If you just head over to soulwanderings.com, you'll be able to link to them directly. And of course, you'll want to make sure you're following KGRA Radio on all of the platforms as well, especially YouTube, where all of the archives are being stored. Share with your friends and family, and let's continue to have these amazing conversations and bring awareness and movement into our experiences. Thank you to our producers tonight, Race and Eric. I appreciate you both so much. And thank you, Wanderers, for being here with us again. I adore you all. Thank you very much and have a happy day.